Hi everyone, hola, bienvenidos a mi canal. Thank you so much for joining. So today I'm going to be reacting to a requested song. So someone used the request link in my description to send me over a song that they'd like me to react to. And Joel was the requester, so thank you so much, Joel. So it's a tiny song called Monstruo with Feed Fade. So I'm very intrigued to see what this is about. Let's go for it. Ooh. Wow.
Ya oscureció esta tarde, que chimarte aquí, tú que casi no sales. Si tú no eres de nadie, porque cuando te hablo tú no te quieres ir. Ven, no te pongas a mentir, que yo me vuelvo un monstruo y la rompo. La sentí, me dijo ya que mami, pero me lo hace. Y le pido un parche, no creo que me cache. La sentí, me dijo ya que uy, es una desgracia.
Wow.
Yo gasto, le saco el pato. Ella y yo esperamos que asco. Le pica la casa, tabaco. Si ella me deja, le doy sin casco. Yo se la quiero sentir, yo no le voy a mentir. Tú me entiendes lo que te quiero decir. Yo te chingo sin pis, yo te pago los pis. Si ese marica te olvidó, dile que ti. Yo destapo una loquera, me saco la
Wow.
cuando estoy a mí, no te la bellaquera. Hay que resolver, no le damos espera. Perreando se vio una fiera. Puede que me pase, yo le digo pase. Ella se vuelve loca con todas mis frases. Que yo me vuelvo un monstruo y la rompo. La sentí, me dijo ya.
This is so cool.
Mami, pero me lo hace. Y le pido un parche. No creo que me cache. Y me dijo ya que uy, es una
Wow.
wow, qué rico lo hace. De una cache. Pero por poco y nos desvestíamos. Solo tú y yo lo sabíamos. Yeah. Yo estaba ahí, pero buscando la oportunidad para yo llevarte a un lugar donde ya no hubieran testigos.
Ooh. Se me levantar. Ooh, yes. Ooh. Yo, that's deep. Wow. This is so cool. Ooh. That's amazing. This video is crazy. Oh. Oof. Oh my god. Wow. That was so cool. That was so different. It was very on theme with the whole monstruo theme. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna get up the lyrics. So yeah, one thing I loved about it was the first thing that I noticed was the whole, like the old vibe of it. Like it was very classic feeling with the orchestra and the black and white and the old movie vibe to it. And then that person that was like, it was almost looked like a witch, like on a broom around the globe at the beginning. It was so cool. It was giving like Wizard of Oz vibes to begin with, but that movie is just basically like an old classic movie, isn't it? So that was a vibe that I was getting first of all, and I think that was really, it drew you in, and it was kind of bringing in that whole old vibe with a classic violin and then the black and white. It was so eerie and so like, you know those like old movies back in the days that they used to do, like the scary movies that were all black and white, but they may have been sort of old and not necessarily the most advanced gear, but in terms of executing a really scary or thriller-like movie, they did it really good. Like that was the vibe that I was getting from it. It was so cool, and I loved the fact that obviously it's called Monstruo, and I loved the elements of like the way it was shot was like through a whole like circle the whole time. It was like looking, and then the people that were sitting in the audience were almost like kind of zombie type people, like with the light in their eyes somehow, but then we're looking through a circle which was kind of mirroring their eyes. And I love the use of shapes as well in the video, like the shape bit, especially this bit, that just looks so cool. It was the use of shapes and shadows. Whoever directed this video did such a great job in creating shapes and knowing how to use light to create that eerie feel. So I think that was sick. Oh, even the last bit, it says like no eras tú, yo he cambiado, no eras tú, yo he cambiado, like basically saying it wasn't you, I changed. So it's almost like, did he become the monstruo? Because that was a vibe that I got. It was almost like, especially with the whole like piano bit, that was sick. I loved that. With the whole piano, and it was like split in half. It was almost like his heart is split in half, but also like them two. Obviously it's a song about like breakup. Cuando a ti y a mí nos de la bellaquera hay que resolver, no le damos espera, perreando se vuelve una fiera. It's very poetic. It's extremely poetic, and that just adds to the whole vibe of it. It's a monster and you're creating this whole world, and it's just poetic and it's like crazy. Like, I think I'm gonna have a little look at the lyrics in English as well. Some of the words I'm not really understanding completely, and I really want to get the gist of exactly what they're saying. So the chorus is basically saying that I become a monster and I break her. I felt her and she said damn. Oh, it's quite crude actually. Now reading the lyrics in English, I won't say this because it's not PG, but that's quite intense. Okay, so the song is quite a sexual song actually, now looking at the lyrics, and it's quite almost like a monstro, like it's almost that it's giving that element of sort of that passionate sort of like animalistic type vibe between him and his partner, but then it's also a thing of like he's a monster and he's become a monster, but then it's like he'll break her as well. So like when the piano was broken in half and he was almost like still, he was away from it, but he was playing the piano, and it was like transmitting, like it was very like eerie and almost ghost like and paranormal, and which was really cool. And I think that element is almost like saying, you know, how it's quite he's talking about quite intimate things, and he's saying it in a kind of like a crude way, but also shows the animalistic passionate side. But it's like even when they're away from each other, he can still have an effect on her. With, do you know what I mean? That's the vibe that I'm getting. It's very eerie and very paranormal almost, and almost like very overtaken. Yeah, it was like only you and I knew it. I was there, but I was looking an opportunity to take you to a place where there was no witnesses, and then I became a monster and break her. I think it's what we call it in English, although it's a French word, it's called the double entendre, which is basically a song having two meanings, and I feel like it definitely has two meanings. He sees himself as a monster, and almost like his ways and his persona, he's speaking from like an insecure place. That's the vibe that I'm getting from what I've read and looking at the video. He's almost knowing that he's the problem for them separating, like the piano was breaking, but then it's also like a double meaning of he's breaking her in terms of like pleasure, in terms of like in the bedroom. That play on words and meaning I think was really cool. Yeah, and also the use of like black and white, I think it's almost like the lighter part, so the double meaning type thing, like there's a darker meaning behind this, but then there's also that lighter meaning of like pleasure and satisfaction and pleasing someone. Wow, really cool. Yeah, really cool. And yeah, I love the what was I going to say? I love the piano. I love the instruments, the way that it was created as well, the production. Obviously Taney produced this, and Fade is that, if that's how you pronounce his name, is obviously the artist. And the production was mad. The production was so good, like the felt very textured. Like in your ears you can feel the texture, like that old, you know, when you listen to like old songs like from the 60s or the 70s or 80s, you can feel that texture when you listen to it. It's almost like, you know, the record player, the LP, the vinyls that have that ruffly sound, like you feel that in when you're listening to it, so it kind of brings you back to a different time, which I think is cool. And just the piano, the very eeriness of it, it was sick. It was so cool. And then like the fact that there's a mirror at the end, but it's like it doesn't have, or that could be a picture frame. Either way, I don't know. It could be a picture frame, or it could be a mirror. I just saw it as a mirror, even though it doesn't actually have like an actual mirror inside of it. It's almost like looking at yourself in a reflection, and like I'm a monster kind of thing. Yeah, it was deep. There's a lot of meaning behind this, which I think was really cool. So thank you, Joel, for requesting that. I really enjoyed that. And so if anyone has any other requests for me, there is a link in the description box for you to send your songs that you'd like me to do a video on. And yeah, if you like the vibe that I create with my channel, feel free to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for requesting this, Joel. I appreciate it. All right, till next time. Bye.